Hi.
I hear the thunder. You guys can't hear that thunder, but that storm is coming right over our office. Awesome.
Oh, Chauncey.
Let's do it, man. Let's have a big kaboom, kaboom.
Like I said earlier, it can't be worse than when I was on that webinar. We got to talk about that.
All right.
We should talk about that.
So, so everybody, this is Chauncey Hunter Jr. I'm with Real Tax Business Success, and I'm celebrating a 30-year anniversary in the tax industry. It got started back in 1990. It is 2020, and daggone it, 2020 is a lot different than 1990. I'd have to tell you. But we're celebrating 30 years, and somebody along that ride, somewhere back, Nate, I can't know. I don't know. 18 years ago, somewhere back there, 20 years
Yep.
ago, 15 years ago,
Somewhere in there.
Nate Hagerty jumped in the mix and got into the tax industry as well. We have worked together for a lot of years, helping a lot of tax professionals. So why wouldn't I invite him to help us celebrate my virtual Tax Pro Success Summit? It's July 29th and 30th, and that's coming up here in a couple of days. These are $30 tickets. Where we've got $1,500 worth of bonuses going out from the different speakers and coaching programs that we're offering people just to sign up and participate in this 2-day event. And so I got a lot to say about it, but we're not going to get into the stuff that I'm talking about. We're going to get into the stuff that Nate Hagerty's talking about, because Nate is one of the speakers, our experts. He is in the category of online marketing. He started, I'm going to say, in the newsletter business, he started in the get more referrals, build relationship with your clients, offline business, and now has transitioned to a significant company with significant services, helping a wide range of tax and accounting professionals in a lot of different areas. So Nate, welcome to the interview, and I'm so glad you get to join us at the virtual summit coming up at the end of the month.
Thank you, my friend. And yes, we started back in 2007 with a newsletter company, and it was oriented around building relationships with clients and prospects. But very quickly, we pivoted to the online space. Actually, within 9 months, we decided that, or I decided with my team, that we wanted to put our eggs in that basket with email marketing and relationship oriented online marketing and websites. We were the first people in the tax industry to do managed social media on behalf of CPAs and tax professionals. We started doing that back in 2009. Back in the day when I had to tell people what Facebook was. And I remember I had to tell you about that, Chauncey.
I was going to say, you told me.
I think I helped you get on Facebook, which we are currently on, which is very funny.
Hold on. Let me just give you the 30 seconds. So people know, I literally walking down the steps, leaving the office, and I say, hey, Nate, what are you doing? And you said to me, I'm looking at this thing called Facebook. It's on some college.
You had to have a private invite at that point, and only certain colleges alumni could get on it. And so I went to Virginia, and we were able to get on it at the time. And then it expanded, but yeah.
And I'm like, okay, whatever, I'm out of here. And I walked out there.
So let me just say a word about that. And I emailed my list about this. I don't know if you saw this the other day, Chauncey, about you. And it's a 30-year celebration, and you just know, brother, I'm going to be telling some stories about you.
Right.
Yeah, I'm going to be teaching, but your people need to hear. Your people need to know the true Chauncey Hunter Jr.
That's right.
And when Chauncey hired me, I came into the tax industry because of Chauncey. Now I've got a 7-figure agency and 13 employees, and we are serving hundreds of businesses across the United States and abroad, even a little bit. But when Chauncey hired me back in 2002 or 3, something like that, he said to me, Nate, I want you to come work for me, and I don't want you to work for me 4 or 5 years from now. And I said, Chauncey, I kind of just want a job. sir. I mean, we had known each other for a little bit in different circles. He was on the board of the nonprofit that I worked for at the time. And true to his word, Chauncey, maybe even against his own, long-term gain, helped me start Tax Pro Marketer, helped me start my company, and introduced me to his clients. Part of it was that I was less interested in coaching and more interested in implementation and building a team around that. And that's what Tax Pro Marketer is all about. We do things on behalf of CPAs and tax professionals to help them actually execute on the great stuff that Chauncey and Andrew and some of these other folks who are going to be at the summit are talking about. We are the behind the scenes team that actually helps get stuff done. So we got a little bit of a different approach than some of the other folks out there, and we could talk about that. But I did want to just pause and honor you, Chauncey. I mean, I mentioned this in the email. I saw you fall on your sword so many times when we worked together. You taught me so many things that I still rely upon in leading my team. You inspired me. You sacrificed on my behalf. I could go on all day, and that's not the point of this.
You're very kind.
I know I am. I'm very kind.
Let me tell you something about Nate and why I need to pay attention to Nate. Why he has been so successful is because he is an excellent communicator. And I would say that tax and accounting professionals, if there's an area where there's several weaknesses, but one of the sweet spots that Nate has tapped into many years back was, I'm going to help them communicate. And they don't even realize it, but they need to build a relationship better with their clients. Yeah. And that's the secret sauce behind why Nate's successful is his
true. Not that I'm good, but that it is the communication part that's so big.
It's the messaging that needs to get to that client that a lot of times the accountant or the tax professional doesn't really know how to say it or how best to get it to them in the way that is most effective. And so would you talk a little bit about that? I mean, as far as how you guys, your company, it's not just an email. It's not just a Facebook post. It's not just a web. It's a combination. That's the beauty of it.
Well, thank you again for the honor that you do me to even just have me in this event. I think the world of you, Chauncey. But so there's two different approaches to online marketing that I see emerging right now. Two kind of primary camps. And the first camp is one that's been around for a while. The second one is more emergent. And we find ourselves here at Tax Pro Marketer drawing from a little bit of both. But let me explain what I mean by that. First of all, there is the camp that has been in the industry for years, decades. And that is, from an online marketing standpoint, any kind of marketing standpoint, it's kind of the glorified business card approach, building collateral, having stuff online, having a website, making it pretty, a branding style approach. That there's nothing inherently bad about it. It's definitely better than nothing, but it's also not gonna be able to be tied to revenue. It's not gonna be able to be like a real investment in growth. It's basically checking a box and paying $500 to $1,000 a year for a website. And then you've got to cobble together all the different other properties that are required now to do online marketing, because online marketing has shifted a ton in the last 5-6 years, where the main primary website that your business has is actually no longer the only engine for growth. And some people that I follow, and I think a lot of small businesses are seeing this, it's becoming less and less the primary engine for growth, though it does still matter as a content kind of spoke, and I'll talk about that. But then on the other side of the coin is, I don't want to be too pejorative about how I communicate about these folks, because a lot of them actually do really good work, and they are much more of the copy and paste funnels plus advertising approach, which has great value. They saw the fact that people were just paying this cheap commoditized website companies, and there was no salesmanship, there was no direct response orientation to what they were doing. and they saw the need in the marketplace. And now there's, I mean, Chauncey, you probably know this. I mean, there's probably like 15, 20 of these folks in our industry that I'm on their email lists. I see their stuff, and a lot of them are really smart. But their primary engine for all of what they do is a squeeze funnel that is driven with advertising. And what's great about that is that you can, turn up and turn down the lead flow, so to speak, with the investment that you make in advertising. But what's not great about that, there's a couple of things that aren't great about that. I'm not saying it doesn't ever work. You will get 15 to 20% of the prospects out there that are hot, heavy, desperate. They are ready to be squeezed. They are ready to be brought through the funnel. You will get a certain percentage of those. But the problem is, number one, they're not always the best kind of prospects, although you can do things to make that better. But what happens when you turn off the advertising? And really nothing. And that's kind of one of the major gaps. And so what we have done, and actually there's a third problem, is that it requires you to be a good salesman. And it requires you to learn skills that a lot of CPAs and tax professionals maybe aren't as comfortable with, maybe aren't as skilled at. And you've got to have good phone, scripting, and good, person-to-person scripting. All of that can be done. All of that can be overcome. And so again, I think there's great value in both of these approaches depending on your goals. So I don't want to be too much of a jerk, but we found that it's far more effective to cover a variety of bases and use the funnel in its proper place, but not just rely upon a squeeze funnel to bring in new leads and bring in advertising. And so what we do at Tax Pro Marketer, and I'll talk about this more in my session, going into nitty-gritty detail, we are paying attention to what's happening kind of in the broader online marketing world. And like Google is doing studies on the journey of the modern prospect. And in fact, they have I can point you to the link during our presentation. They did a Think with Google data dump on all the marketers out there 18 months ago. And where they talked about the demise of the funnel, the eventual demise of the traditional marketing funnel, because of the bifurcated and spastic nature of people's attention spans right now, and the way that they're gathering information from so many different sources. So what that means for a CPA and tax professional, what that means for a local business, is you've got to have your local listings locked down. You've got to have your website stuff locked down. You've got to have your social media stuff locked down and optimized. And then there's a whole variety of like 40 or 50 other sites, properties, all of which work together, all of which the algorithms, whether your flavor is Google or DuckDuckGo or Bing, all of these algorithms actually draw from all of these sources, so that the vast majority of folks who prefer to maybe research on their own, who maybe aren't going to be the kind of prospect that wants to be squeezed, that wants to be brought through the high pressure sales situation, they want to find somebody who's maybe more established, or it looks more established, because we can help you look a lot more established than you might actually be. That's where search engine optimization comes in. And that's where SERP stacking, and what SERP stacking is something I'll explain in in the presentation, where you've got listings on, like multiple listings on page one without advertising, without actually having to, give money to Big Daddy Google and Big Daddy Facebook. We can help you with that too. I love to see all of it working together so that a tax professional doesn't have to feel like they're a carnival barker. So that's where I come from.
So I got a question.
Bring it.
You have everything that could happen has happened, it seems like, in the tax industry, in the economy, in the news, in the media. I mean, I've never seen so much noise in my life. And then people that are actually trying to get their taxes done, they're trying to get right with the IRS, they're trying with their small business, whatever they're doing, but they are going online. I mean, I'm sure you guys have the numbers.
Oh, traffic is through the roof. I mean, we've got numbers. Sorry, I don't want to interrupt your.
Well,
your
my point is, you, if there's ever a time to take advantage of, that spikes have gone up in the last 6 months with people searching for help, it would be for what you guys do. I mean, it's like you're putting a silver plate right there for people.
Yeah. When you do it right, I mean, we've got clients. So if you compare traffic patterns year over year, and we do a look back, actually like a 15-month look back to see trends with our different clients and search volume data and kind of click-through rates on whether we run advertising for people or just in their kind of organic results. Because the organic results depends on whether it's Google My Business or the regular SEO. Google My Business is actually now probably the most direct and what's the proper word? Not popular. The richest source of lead flow for the local service business. Google My Business is actually outstrips it, but you've got to do a lot on the back end to optimize that reality besides just getting reviews, which definitely matter. Google My Business and regular organic listings, they get the lion's share of clicks. It's between 80 and 83%, kind of depending on what study you look at. Year over year traffic is through the roof, but when you do your due diligence, so to speak, put up fresh content on a regular basis. Again, I'll be talking about this a ton a week from today. This is or 8 days from today. I forget. It's a week from today, I believe, 29th. Anyway, register for the summit, and you'll get my session. And if you look at the data for when people are actually doing their due diligence on all these different properties, we're seeing 700% year over year growth in traffic and leads. We're like 700%, like 7x. We're seeing phone calls where in years past, before they kind of used our system, we can plug into the Google My Business data for their stuff. Before we kind of started working on it, they're getting 10 calls a month. Now they're getting 150. I mean, it really. I mean, I've got a lot of case studies and data to show, and we've actually been calling every one of our clients, interviewing them, and we're going to be sharing some of that data over the course of the next couple months. We're looking at all the data. I mean, we love to be data driven in what we're talking about, because I can tell you and assert all the till I'm blue in the face, but numbers don't lie.
So there's a lot of options out there that accountants and tax professionals have to get online options like that, scratch their itch, so to speak. The reason why, but I want you to tell everybody why listen to Nate, why listen to Tax Pro Marketer when there's dozens and dozens of other people in the tax accounting industry that you can go to, because I know you guys have set yourself apart, but I want you to explain to everybody.
So here's the deal. There's a couple of things the reasons why you should listen to what I'm going to talk about with Chauncey's. First of all, every presentation I do, and if you've ever listened to one of mine, this is the case. I bring a teaching heart to what I do. So my goal is to give you all of the tools and understanding and the research and the data to be able to do this stuff on your own. I'm not just going to squeeze you into, enrolling with us as a client. We're happy to help. We're not a charity, and we'd love to come alongside you to do the heavy lifting on your behalf. But I'm going to teach you instead of just bring a philosophy and do a hardcore sales pitch the whole time. I'm going to teach you. And I've done hundreds of teaching webinars and CPE academies, what have you. So when you come to Chauncey's Summit, you're going to get the straight dope about what's actually working. Because what I actually find is when I teach people, I'm going to kind of open the kimono here and tell you kind of my philosophy here. When I actually teach people this stuff and they realize all that is behind the scenes of doing this, honestly, a lot of times people say, well, I'd just rather have someone do it all for me. And so what does that look like? And so we're happy to have that conversation. We've got a variety of different options. But what sets us apart is that, like I said in the very beginning, we understand the carnival barker and we understand the CPA who doesn't want to be the carnival barker. And we are able to craft a marketing strategy that is direct response oriented, but also relationship focused. And so one of the cornerstones of what we do is, as Chauncey mentioned, is the relational touch. the weekly nurture email marketing that we do on behalf of our clients that actually continues to grow your base and continues to help your clients feel connected and doesn't just put people through a squeeze funnel, over email. Because a lot of times what I see people doing when they follow these kind of newsfeed gurus, email becomes pitch, 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 instead of actual value, which, from a CPA with their existing clients, they don't want to pitch, pitch, pitch their existing clients. They want to nurture, they want to provide value. So that's also what we provide. But we cover all the different bases and pay attention to this crap so you don't have to. I mean, that's our deal.
So last question.
Basically an agency without having to charge what agencies charge. And we are a funnel provider without having to squeeze you through a funnel. And we've got all of the advantages of these glorified brochure websites where we do a fully featured website on your behalf that gets search organic traffic. So that's what makes us different.
That's good. So last question. I'd love for you to give any wisdom related to the season that we're in. Okay, we've just finished out tax season, the extended tax season. We are now pivoting and moving forward to extensions, last few months of the year, and 2021 obviously is going to be a big year for a lot of accountants.
Yep.
It's going to be huge, but it ain't just going to be huge. You got to do stuff from now till Christmas.
You sow the seeds now. The most successful clients that we worked with started doing online marketing, started building a content engine for their firm 6 months before tax season. Yes, we can help you when, if you connect with us in November, December, and we've actually got stories to prove it. But the most successful ones are ones who start mid-summer and start building their content momentum, start signaling to the robots that you are a fresh and authoritative source of content and you deserve to be on page one. And that takes time. There's a lot of people, the cool thing about advertising is that it doesn't take time. You can do advertising and be getting leads the next day. We do that too. But we also want to create an engine so that if you do turn off your ads, you've got something that actually rakes in the leads regardless of how much you're spending in ads. So we don't force everyone to do ads, but we're a Google Premier partner, which means that we're one of the top 1% of agencies working with Google pay-per-click. So we're held to the highest standards on our team. So we want the quick wins for you, but we also want to build something sustainable long-term. To build something sustainable long-term and that will actually rake in all the leads and the clients that you want for during tax season, like a lot of our clients did this year, you start now.
Yeah. So that's good. So everybody, you know the drill. You know that there has to be an online piece to your tax and accounting practice. You definitely need to have, there's no reason to do this by yourself. You want to pay attention to what authorities in the marketplace that have a track record, that have years of helping and serving and other tax and accounting professionals. So you definitely want to pay attention to Nate's session. He is on day 2 on the 30th of July.
30th, 8 days from today.
And so we will be doing.
It's going to be the best session by far. Don't even listen to the other speakers. They're lame. Okay. Andrew Argue, no. David Costello, even though I introduced both of those guys to Chauncey, no. They're good guys, but I'm going to be way, way better. David Stone, I like him, but I'm going to be a far superior. I'm also the most humble of all of the guys.
I think Ron Carruthers might have something to say to you about that.
Oh, Ron.
Anyway, guy. So we're going to have a good time, but we're going to show you how to make some serious money too. I mean, I just love the fact that we're in a season where it's never been more clear that you actually have to move forward on some areas of your business, and you can't wait. You cannot wait months or years. And so this is the time for you to pay attention and move forward.
And all kidding aside, Chauncey, you've gathered an all-star crew. Every one of those guys, I'm joking. Costello, Argue, David Stone, Ron. Who am I missing? Oh, you're a faith guy.
Randy.
Randy, I don't know him, but all the other guys, it's an all-star, murderer's row when it comes to like the tax and accounting industry. So I'm super excited to be a part of it and very honored. So thank you.
So there should be a link in the comments that you can click and sign up. The tickets are $30. We had to charge something. I mean, we could charge $1,000, but because it's the 30-year anniversary, we thought $30 was fine. If you get one idea from Nate from his presentation, it's going to be far beyond $30. So enjoy it. We're going to have a good time. And Nate, thanks for joining us today. Everybody, we'll see you on the 29th and the 30th. And it will be the page turner from this past craziness to the future. A lot of profits, a lot of potential. And you got to be a good steward of the season that we're in. And having Nate and the other speakers will help you do that. Thanks
Indeed.
again, everybody.
Thanks, Chauncey.
We'll see you later.
Yep.